What's up, hockey fans, hockey fanatics out there? Welcome to the Hockey Lounge, episode 27 for Wednesday, August 18th, 2021. It is 9 p.m. We're rocking the lounge live tonight with my wingman. Apple is in the lounge with that, I don't know what you want to call it back there, but it is quite a scene, what I'm seeing tonight in the background with Apple. App, what's going on, big man?
Not much, man. Everything good. How are you doing?
Good.
Just thought I'd bring some class to the show there with that background.
We always need some class, especially with the two of us on this show. Class does lack here.
Yeah.
So nothing really in terms of signings today in the NHL. We're going to get to our NHL daily wrap-up later in the show. But first off, we're going to talk about the National Hockey League and the Central Division and some of the offseason moves some of those teams did, and some of the ins and outs of player movement in the Central Division. We'll start off with, let's just bring this up here. We'll start off with the Minnesota Wild. Okay. Now, there's a number of different things. I just read something from Russo from the Minnesota Wild that Kaprizov is supposed to be signing with that team for an average of $9 million. Let's start off with that first, that situation with the Minnesota Wild. You have a star player, rookie player come into the league last year, seasoned a little bit, played in overseas with the men per se. And now, he's demanding big time money after coming off a pretty good season here. So, what are your thoughts here, Up, with the ongoing negotiations here with him?
I think the whole KHL rumor of him possibly going there, I think it was just a hoax to try to force the Wild hand. Mm-hmm. The kid's a good player, but me personally, I have a hard time after one season giving a guy that much money. Having said that, I think the Wild, their hands are kind of tied because who do they, other than Trouba, who is the face of the franchise? Sorry, not Trouba, Dumba. Other than Matt Dumba, they need this guy to be the face of the franchise. I think it all boils down to timing. They've got their hands tied. They had to keep him. I think after buying out Suter and Parise and stuff and the guys they've lost, if they were to lose him to the KHL or something else, I think the Wild fans would be up in an uproar.
Right. So what we did tonight, just to let the viewers know, we dissected 4 teams each year. And we looked at, like the offseason moves in terms of in and outs here. You're the Minnesota Wild tonight, right? Yep. And, we already have a comment in the lounge here from Frankie, the Okani. Frank, respond to your texts, big guy. Okay, I've been texting you all day. You haven't responded to me. Viala, waste of money. Now, I don't know. Like we talked about that signing the other day, App. I disagree with Frank.
It was a 1-year signing, right?
Yeah.
So
1 year, 5.1.
Really, if he doesn't play up to par, like I'm assuming that's what he thinks that he's not going to put up, they can cut ties. If he has a great year, good for him. They might have to pay him out. So the Wild as a whole, strange moves this year. Like they lost Johansson in the expansion draft, Marcus Johansson in the expansion draft. Suter and Parise got bought out. They lost Ian Cole. Suter and Parise didn't play their best. They're at the tail end of their career, but Ian Cole, I think, is a big loss. We've said it many times on the show that he's a good defenseman. And they brought in guys like John Merrill, who he played with the Devils. I've seen him play. He's not an NHL defenseman. He's a sixth guy on a bad team. They brought in Dmitry Kulikov, another guy that I saw with the Devils last year. I think he's a pretty good defenseman, and they brought in Goligoski. So they tried to shore up the back end, which is what they need. The Wild, their hands are going to be tied for the next few years because of the recoup money that they're going to have to pay under the cap for the Suter and Parise debacle. I mean, they went for it. 6-7 years ago when they signed both these guys, it was the big story of the NHL that July 1st. Yeah. Parise left New Jersey and Suter left Calgary, and it never worked out for them. It just didn't work out. And now they're in limbo now. They're a team, they're an organization, a team in flux. They're flatlined.
But I do think with the Wild, though, again, they have some youth. They got Kiprasov. Hopefully he signs for that team. They have a couple decent pieces on the back end. I like this. I like Viala. I think they're a team that's sort of like you said, they bought out those two players. They're going to have some cap issues here for a little bit, but they have some youth coming up. They took the Vegas Knights to 7 games. I'm really, just like the Devils have Fitzgerald, the Wild have Billy Guerin, and I have faith in him that he's going to turn that ship around. He's played for Big Lou. He understands how it works, right? And the funny thing is he was quoted the other day now. This might be true, might not be, but supposedly he was quoted saying he doesn't really care if Kaprizov comes back. Let it be, whatever happens, happens. So he's playing definitely that game right now with that. He's not really showing everything. So we'll see. I think the Minnesota Wild, like you said, somewhat of a team that is sort of, I would say, even keel. Do you think, I don't know which way they're going to go here.
I agree with you. They are a young team as well. That their trajectory, if they didn't have the Suter or the Parise thing hanging over them for the next few years, I think their trajectory would be up. The concern I have with them is they can't really go get very many really, really good players with the handcuffs on like this. By the time these young players make an impact or start their contracts up, they might walk.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't know, but they're going to have to find a way of biding 3 or 4 years.
For sure. Another comment here. We have Teeps is back again in the lounge. Look at that jersey. What a beauty. Now, Teeps, behind the jersey is David Putty. Go Devils! The Devils! Right? If you remember that. I'm not sure if he's a face painter or not. He does have the letter D on his chest. One day we'll get him to show you if he's got the D on his chest. So the Wild, again, few moves. What do you think their best move, though, in the offseason so far has been at?
I think the signings of Kulikov and Goligoski, as far as new players, bringing them in and shoring up the defense. Eric Sinek and Bukestad, Fiala, they brought them back. So I don't count them as additions. Yeah, they were free agents. They could have went elsewhere and they brought them back. But as far as new blood, I think they shored up at least 2 out of the 6 defensive spots with Kulikov and Goligoski.
Yeah, so again, I like the additions on the back end. I've been always a big fan of Goligoski. He did play for the Pens. Steady D's got some offensive flair, and he's a good skater. So, when you improve the back end, you always improve your team. So we'll see where they finish. Next team on our list here is the Dallas Stars. So they're always an interesting team. They went to the Stanley Cup Finals in the bubble. So looking at their additions for the Dallas Stars, they brought in Braden Holtby to help out for goaltending. They signed the former Minnesota Wild defenseman Ryan Suter. They brought in Luke Glendening for a fourth-line specialist to win some faceoffs, to penalty kill, block some shots. I like that signing. They also brought in, or they re-signed, Yanni Hakanapää. I guess that's his name. Good defenseman, young guy. Subtractions to the team. So guys moving on from the Dallas Stars. You have Jamie Lesniak, which is gone. You have Andrew Cogliano, which is gone. And you have Jason Dickerson, which signed a contract with the Vancouver Canucks on Saturday. So Dallas is one of those teams where they sort of, I don't know. When I watch them, at times they look like they're a high-level, fast-paced team, and then other times you watch them and they put you to sleep. I'm not sure really what their identity is at. I do like the signing of Suter. I still think he can play and he can solidify some minutes back there. It is an upgrade from Jamie Lesniak. Holtby, you know what, didn't play well in Vancouver. Maybe he rebounds in Dallas, but you got a 1-2 punch there with Khudobin and Holtby. And Luke Glendening, we talked about him in the past year as being a solid fourth line role player. Nothing that really wows me, but again, they're very similar to the Wild.
Yeah, I agree with you. You don't know what to expect from these guys. They went for the Stanley Cup Finals to not making the playoffs.
Right.
You really don't know what to expect from this team. the subtractions, the additions, they kind of wash. Alexiak, pretty good defenseman that they lost. I don't know what to expect from these guys this year. I really don't. Like,
Yeah.
you go from one extreme of the Stanley Cup Finals to not making the playoffs. I don't know what to expect from these guys.
Yeah, they're one of those teams that's like I said, they don't really have an identity. You can't, when you talk about Dallas, are they a fast wheeling team? Are they a grinding team? Really, their identity is out there. It's not there. So we'll see what the Dallas Stars do. But I do like their goaltending. I think it's, they got decent. Depending on who you put in that, you'll get some good work from them.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Nashville Predators. Another team that I think is really, and this is just me talking about Nashville, really looking at the decline. Soros just had that extension the other day, $20 million for 5 or 4 years, I believe. I'm not sure what you're getting out of them.
all the guys, they haven't added anybody but Cody Glass, and that was in the Ryan Ellis trade in the 3-way.
Yeah.
So to me, they lost that trade, because Ryan Ellis is still a serviceable defenseman. I mean, all the guys they brought back were their own: Fabro, Saros, Granlund. They already had them there, so they didn't improve. They lost Ryan Ellis. Pecorini retires. They bring in. They lost Riddick, and Arvidsson as well. I think you're right. I think they were already on the decline, and I think the losses are greater than the gains. So I think they're going to be even worse. I don't see where this team is headed, and they've got some players on that team that, right, to me, Ryan Johansson.
But he's an enigma right now.
Yeah, like it's like he's lost there.
Like, the kid's got size, he's got speed, he's got talent, but you don't see that. You have the Matt Duchene curse, right?
Yep.
Wherever he goes, it seems to be, hashtag shit.
Yep.
Like you said the other day. Really, they had Kevin Fiala, they traded him. I'm not making Kevin Fiala sound like a huge difference maker, but a good player. Peke Rannon retires. Their goaltending is, it's somewhat. Their coach there, he was a New Jersey Devil coach.
John Hines.
Yeah. He was from the Pittsburgh organization. Not sure what type of coach he is as well, right?
Like you got Roman Josi, one of the top defensemen in the league, and he's in quicksand there. He's going to be one of those guys that's a really good player that never wins anything.
You know what's crazy about this whole thing? When you look at 4 years ago, you look at, Nashville was in the Stanley Cup, right? The Eastern Conference Finals, you had the Ottawa Senators against the Pittsburgh Penguins. And, those two teams now, Ottawa went in full rebuild stage. Nashville seems to probably they probably have to head that way up.
Yeah.
I don't see anything really that, and like you said, Cody Glass is not going to upgrade your team. He's a good young player, but he's not going to do anything, crazy for you. So they're a team to watch up.
I think they're a team to watch at the trade deadline, because I think David Poile, if he plans on rebuilding this stuff down, there's going to be a lot of guys. Ryan Johansson could be dangled out there. Duchene, like you said. Who knows what he does with Yossi, because I don't know if they're not making if they're 15, 20 points out of the playoff spot by trade deadline, I don't know if he's going to want to be there. It could turn into a complete just sell-off with this team.
Exactly, for sure. Frank in the lounge, he also says goalie problem in Nashville, 100%. But let me remind you, Frank, you picked them to come out of that division in the playoffs. So I think they got some big-time goalie problems there, buddy. So next team, a team that is new to the Central. There is a realignment in the National Hockey League this year. We had to add that in, and that is the Arizona Coyotes. They are howling in the Central this year. So just to let all the viewers know, there are 8 teams per division. Arizona moved to the Central. Seattle Kraken is now Kraken in the Pacific. So we have 8 teams, and Arizona is definitely one of those teams up that, man, when we talk about hashtag shit, and that's going to be one of the things we talk about all year. I love that. We don't know, like, it's been year after year after year of, rebuild and changing their culture, different coaches coming in. different GMs, GMs being fined for tampering, Gary Bettman saving them from going bankrupt. This team is just, I put them in the class of that Buffalo Sabre wheelhouse right now.
It's a soap opera.
It's a soap opera, exactly, right? So you look at the additions. They have Shane Gostisbehere, Carter Hutton, Anton Strawman, and Ryan Dzingel. Okay, so those are 4 additions to the team. Subtractions. They traded their captain. Ekman Larsson has gone to the Vancouver Canucks. Connor Garland, one of their top shifty forwards. Now, I'm a big Rick Tocchet fan, and I was cheering for him big time. He did well in the bubble, struggled last year. But that being said, I used to watch the Arizona Coyotes for Connor Garland. Okay?
Yeah.
Right? Definitely huge fan of Garland. I think he's going to do well in Vancouver as well. They lost Darcy Kemper, their starting goalie. They lost their backup goalie, Antti Ranta. Okay? So is Carter Hutton the number 1? Probably yes.
Yep.
So are they on tap for? Hey, just mute your mic, bud. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, just got a background noise there. In terms of the goaltending situation, Carter Hutton is now manning the pipes. You have different situation there. You have the new GM. What is happening in Arizona? I'm not sure. I think they're on total sellout mode. It'll be interesting. There'll be one of the other teams up to definitely look at being more of a seller. I think they're going to be in tank nation going forward, try to rebuild through the draft. And I'm not expecting much from this team going next season.
No, totally agree. They're not going anywhere. I don't see. It's a shame because, the fans, being a fan of a team that's tanking, you look forward to those high picks and watching these guys grow, like Connor Garland, and he's gone.
Right.
How long is Clayton Keller going to want to stay in Arizona?
Right.
Phil Kessel's not going to want to stay there.
Well, Phil Kessel's asked for a trade.
Yeah. Phil Kessel, he's probably not even. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't report to camp, just to force their. Say what you want about Phil Kessel, about the hot dogs and his weight and his work ethic and stuff like that. The guy can put the puck in the net, so he's not going to want to stay there because he wants another kick at the can. So they have a hard sell in Arizona. Why anybody would want to go play for that franchise right now is beyond me because it never looks like there's light at the end of the tunnel there.
Right. I think really the only reason why you want to go play there is for the heat. It's dry heat, and they have amazing golf courses there. So, listen, if you're Jumbo, Arizona should have been the team, bud, not Florida. I know Florida's nice too, but
next year he's going to try and play till he's 50.
So, St. Louis Blues, Stanley Cup champions a few years back. Another team app that I don't know. Are they taking a free for all fall here? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think their problem is the same. Is they've lost more than they've gained. Like they gained Brandon Saad and Bushnevich, which are 2 pretty good players. But then when you look at what they've lost, like they're probably going to lose Tarasenko. I think it's a fractured relationship there. He's not playing there. So I think they lose him. They lost Hoffman, who can score. Mm-hmm. They lost Jaden Schwartz. And then done on the back end, they lost to Seattle. But, you lost 3 forwards that can get you about 20 goals a season on average.
Plus Vladi wants out too. Right?
Tarasenko?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
I said I don't see him playing. I don't see him playing there. They lost Tarasenko, Hoffman, Schwartz.
Yeah.
60 goals right there. Okay, they add Saad and Buchnevich. They added, 40? They're taking a minus on this, and they lost Dunn on the back end. So I don't see how they can be even equal to last year. So they're another team that I think is on the decline. When you look at all these teams in the Central, it's very interesting because to me, there's 1 or 2 teams that are not bad. Everybody else is #shit.
It's true, man. It's ugly in the Central. Teeps is saying they have terrible hot dogs in Arizona. That's probably Kessel wants. He wants the street meat in TO. Maybe he comes back and does another ride with To. Who knows? Could see that happening. I know that there's some guys that want Mr. Kessel. He definitely, like you said, he can put the puck in the net. He still has some game in him. So we'll see where he definitely ends up. In terms of the St. Louis Blues, man, they went from, they lost their captain, Peter Angelo. They're having some issues with their back end. Even Frank comments here in the lounge tonight, defensive problems for the St. Louis Blues, and I totally agree. They are lacking defense, and now they've always had a hard time scoring. Now they're losing all these goals. It'll definitely be interesting to see where the St. Louis Blues go from here. Frank brings up Galchenyuk for Domi, hashtag shit for shit, tank, tank, tank. So just quickly there, I just saw something on Twitter come across about Domi back to Montreal pending trade call. Did you see that up?
Yeah, I heard about that today too. I heard that Montreal was interested in getting him back.
Yeah, so seems like Mr. Max Domi might be heading back to the blue, red, and white of the Montreal Canadiens. We'll keep an eye on that if something goes down here while we're in the lounge tonight. So the next team I want to talk about is the Colorado Avalanche, the Avs. A team that has really high expectations. They made a few acquisitions. They think maybe having Darcy Kemper between the pipes and losing Philip Grubauer to the Seattle Kraken might make a difference. So definitely they got a number one goalie. Of course, Cal McCarr re-signed. Tyson Jost re-signed. They brought in a veteran, speedy guy up front. Again, a role player, Darren Helm, for penalty killing, bottom six. I don't know how much juice he has left in the tank. He's been in the league for a little while now. Depth player. Subtractions, we talked about Grubauer. Donskoy is no longer with the team. You have Brandon Saad that we were just talking about that has gone to the St. Louis Blues. And Ryan Graves is wearing the jersey in back of App. So they did lose some defensive depth on the back end with losing Ryan Graves. Interesting to see what Darcy Kemper does for the Avs. I'm still not a believer that they have their number one. I do think, and we've talked about it in many of the shows about Marc-Andre Fleury. We'll get to the Blackhawks soon, and we'll talk about that. Teep says, Domi, hashtag shit. I think hashtag shit's starting to become a big thing on the Lounge Chair app. Like a hashtag shit. We got to get some t-shirts made for that.
Tie's even worse. How tie is hashtag shittier.
Yeah. So the Avs app, what are your thoughts on them? Like, have they made enough moves for them to get over that hump, become a Stanley Cup champion? Because Nathan McKinnon is all in. He's even looking at talking about hometown discounts.
Look, they're still a really good team. They're still really deep, but I think they did take a step back with what they lost. Mm-hmm. Donskoy and Graves, I think, are big losses. They played a pretty big role with that team. Like they solidified the bottom end on the back end, and Donskoy on the bottom six. I think they took a step back, and I think it really opens the door for another team we're going to talk about later in this division. I think the gap's closed in this division. Colorado, but before free agency started, I tell you, Colorado would have walked away with it. Right now, it's tight. It's a toss-up between two teams in my mind.
Yeah, me too. And I took a look at the one team we're going to talk about in a second here. We're going to get first to the Winnipeg Jets app, but we're going to save that other team for last, right? So let's go to the Winnipeg Jets here. The Winnipeg Jets, what's happening there? What's going on?
This is the other team that I was talking about.
Oh, I'm not talking about that team.
Okay, I know. So,
that's
the beauty of this. That's the beauty of the NHL.
Yeah.
I really like the Winnipeg Jets. To me, they've got the best goalie that's been there the last 2 years. I think Hallebuck might have been the best goalie in the league. Like they added Nate Schmidt, they added Dylan on the back end, which is what they needed. All the other guys they've re-signed, so I won't talk about the re-signings like Kopp and Pionk and Riley Nash and Paul Stastny and stuff. They're re-signs. All they lost was they haven't really lost anybody but Brosseau, backup goalie. So I think the Jets have improved, and I think the Jets are really going to challenge Colorado for this division. I'm not going to give you my prediction because we'll save that for the prediction show.
Yeah, for sure. And again, we're just going over the off-season moves for the viewers that are tuning in here. We're talking about the Central Division. We're going to be going over East Division. Last week we went over the Metro. This week we're going over the Central. We'll have another division next week. But that being said, we're not going to give our predictions about who's going to finish in the playoffs or whatnot. We're just going over off-season moves if they've progressed or degressed with their moves. The Winnipeg Jets app, for some reason, I'm not a big fan. I don't know why. I just there's something about that team that, and I'm not a big Hellebuck fan. I'm just like Hellebuck fan. I'm not a big fan of his. Do I think he's overrated? Yes. He still, to me, has not won a series for Winnipeg. Okay. So are they up front strong? I don't know. Like Scheifele, every time Scheifele the last 2 years has been in the playoffs, he got hurt. Okay. Not his fault. Last year, he takes the stupid cheap shot behind the net to Evans. Okay. I just don't know if they have enough up front. To me, Blake Wheeler I don't know what your thoughts are. He looks like he's on the decline of his career now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Right. The back end is solidified. They made some moves. Like you said, they brought in a couple D that will solidify the back end. They got some youth back there. I like that kid Stanley, big kid. Back end, they solidified goaltending. Yeah, they got a 1A for sure. But it's the offense. Paul Stastny, I like him, but how many goals is he going to get you? 15, 10 to 15, right?
Yep.
We're Connor, okay, like him. Smaller player, slimmer, sort of phases out in the playoffs. Not sure. Paul Maurice. How long has he been there?
I think Paul Maurice is a good coach. I think the style they play, and they have a little bit of sandpaper to their game. I think they're built a little bit differently than some of the teams in this division that want to play fast. Right. I think these guys want to play rough. They want to play not goon style hockey, but rough and tumble hockey.
Yeah.
And again, to me, shoring up the back end was their biggest need because they have a pretty good back end now. And yeah, you add in Hellebuck, you're gonna have a hard time scoring on this team.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And Frank brings up this, and Frank's doing his homework at home. That a boy, Frank. Dmitry Kuzmin is an interesting addition, rookie. We just talked about this the other day. He signed his entry-level contract. He was drafted 3rd round, 82nd overall, and they locked him up. So you're right. Something's happening there. Definitely they see something in him, and maybe he has a chance of cracking the team. We'll go one more time for Frank here. Maurice is not going to make the Jets better. Again, shelf life. How long is this guy going to be there? Not sure. They've had some good teams here. They've had some good teams.
Yep.
When are they going to challenge to get over that?
This could be his last kick at the can.
Right. I'm on board with that. And I like Paul Maurice. I think he's a good coach. I think he brings, respectability, accountability to the room. He always has that team into the playoffs where they have to be. Can they get over that hump? Right. So
it seems like in this league and probably a lot of other sports where each coach has their shelf life. Right. After a team's doing great, everything's great, everybody's the best. And then when things start going downhill, they just start blaming the coach, or you start hearing rumblings and the players don't play for him anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. I don't think Maurice has very more years left.
Right.
One to be exact. I think it's make or break for him this year.
Yeah. I think, again, and we'll have a podcast for this. We're coming up with different ideas here in the summertime because there's not a lot of hockey talk happening right now in the National Hockey League, not a lot of big trades, nothing like that. So, or significant signings. But we're going to get into, we'll have a podcast, which coaches are on the hot seat for this season. I think that would be a good one, and we'll get everybody involved with that. Look out for that one. That one will be fun. The team that I think is going to challenge the Colorado Avalanche this year is the Chicago Blackhawks. I think with what they've done and brought in a guy that knows how to win, and I'm talking about Marc-Andre Fleury, you just solidified your goalie. And Apple is the guy that always says, you start from the back end. They started with that. Okay. They brought in Seth Jones. They started with that. They brought in Jake McCabe. I like that defenseman from Buffalo. Good minute guy. He's got a little bit of offensive flair. He plays a little bit of a grinding game too. Not big in size, but he can play a lot of minutes. The guy that people always forget that they got is Tyler Johnson. Okay, so you had Tyler Johnson in the mix, Jonathan Taves, Alex DeBrincat, Patrick Kane, Strome. They have. Does Nylander break out this year? They really have, and they have what's his name too? There, the guy that did he sign with somebody else?
No, they got
Kirby Doc
too.
How about the guy plus Suter? Did he sign somewhere
Yeah,
else?
he did.
He signed with Detroit, right? I think.
Yeah. Yes.
I believe so. Yeah, Eiserman locked him up. So he was a good rookie too. But you look at the additions they brought in. I like them. Now the subtractions. You lost your key guy on the back end, but you replaced him with Seth Jones, younger, probably able to play more minutes. They lost Duncan Keith, 3-time Stanley Cup champion, Conn Smythe winner. Adam Boyquist, a young defenseman. They lost him as well. Nikita Zerdarov, I believe he went back to Russia. Or no, did he go to Calgary?
I think he went to Calgary.
I think he went to Calgary. I think Calgary signed him. And then we talked about P.S. Suter going to the Detroit Red Wings. So what are your thoughts off with the additions, Fleury, Jones, McCabe, versus the subtractions, Keith, Boyquist, Zadorov, and Suter?
I think they've added a lot. I think they got a lot of pluses. You're high on them. I don't know if I put them that high, but I do have them higher, like high. They might be the most improved team this year. Like they're all around roster. I think they did a great job. They filled a lot of holes. Seth Jones for Duncan Keith alone. God bless Duncan Keith. 3 Stanley Cups, great player, but he's past his prime. He's done. He's on the down. He's on the downswing. I'm impressed with what Stan Bowman did. Like as you said before, hopefully he gets to enjoy it and he's not in prison.
He might be watching behind bars. That will be interesting for sure. Pens fan 66. First time on the lounge, I think it is, and he's got Blackhawks will win the Central. Pens fan 66. Welcome to the show. That's class right there with the name, with the logo. Any question you got, we'll answer it for sure. Because you know what? It just brings more class to these guys that are classless in terms of App and me. So there we go, right there. App's trying to breathe. He's hyperventilating right now. Last topic, we have Tipu. He's got his jersey on now. I think he has his Griswold jersey from Christmas Vacation, the Chicago Blackhawks jersey. He's saying, bring back Steve Larmer. Stevie, if you can light the lamp still, bud, with that gum that he chewed, he was a beauty for sure. Frankie Boy again in the lounge. Don't forget Dylan Strome. We brought him up. Frank, definitely a depth player. But interesting about Dylan Strome is that they are shopping him. So we'll see where that goes from there, right? Frank saying Pens fan must be from Pittsburgh. How do you know that? Maybe he's just from somewhere in the TO in the 416, maybe.
Yeah, or he's someone that Nick paid off to come on.
You got it. I'll send you the money. I'll e-transfer you that money there. All right. So goalie problems we got. There's a lot of different stuff here. So I'm just gonna ask you, let me just take this off here. Just give me one sec here. So Chicago Blackhawks, we talked about the 8 teams in the Central right now. Okay. Who do you think is the most improved team out of the 8 that we just discussed?
Chicago by far. Stud defenseman, stud goalie. What more do you want in an off season?
Mm-hmm. So I agree with you totally. I think, they did some work there. They got some of the work done with getting the goalies in or whatnot. And you made a good point there last week with our show about the Metro. Does Fleury, let's see things go sideways with Chicago. Does Fleury get traded? You brought that up last week. So I think that's something that we have to look out as for as well, right?
If you're Stan Bowman, do you think you can get him back another year if things go south? Remember, he's unrestricted after this year.
Yeah.
So you kind of forced, like, do you trust him? Because the early rumors were that he didn't want to go play in Chicago. He's got more class than that, so he went. He's gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, Stan Bowman, is he going to take the chance of if a team needs a goalie for a big playoff push, aka Colorado?
Yeah.
Does he try to get a couple of good pieces back for him?
For sure. So we'll keep an eye on that. I agree. I think Chicago made the best moves in terms of getting a A1 defenseman, A1 goalie. So we'll see, and it'll be definitely interesting where we predict these teams to finish when we get to our prediction show early in September. Okay, if you want to become a lounge member, hit that subscribe button below. Again, if you like the show, take a slap shot at that like button. We appreciate the likes. We appreciate the viewers. Subscribe to become a Hockey Lounge member. Follow us on Instagram, The Hockey Lounge. All right, the NHL Daily Wrap-Up. There's been a few things, but a few topics that we want to get into. Some are dicey, some are fun. We want to hear what you have to think as well and say throughout those comments to us. Let's open up the forum here. So, first topic of the night is, and this is a dicey one because this one gets me a little bit jittery out. Just like that person walking down your stairs right now. I can hear it. That's how I feel. My heart's beating, okay? This makes me nervous. Sponsors on NHL jerseys. What are your thoughts on that?
I hate it. They're becoming like, what is this going to be, like the World Championships? I don't like it at all. The NHL is becoming too commercial.
Right.
It irritates me.
So we got the young guy in the lounge tonight, Christopher Tipu. Hey, buddy. Good practice tonight. Saw you out there. Way to skate. Way to go, bud. Thanks for watching. In terms of the sponsors on the NHL jerseys, definitely I'm not a fan of it. Like you said, is it the World Championships? Gary Bettman, there was a quote on Instagram today. He said he would never do that. Yeah. And now Gary's at it again. Now, I think the big thing off with this here is the fact that they've lost over $1 billion of revenue here, right? So they're trying to climb back here. They're trying to get some type of revenue with all these sponsorships, whatnot. The thing I'm worried about is the authentic jersey. So we're talking about the original six. And I know that you're not a Leaf fan. Montreal Canadiens, Chicago Blackhawks, the New York Rangers, the Boston Bruins. They're going to have logos on their jerseys. Come on, man. That's bullshit.
Yeah, I agree with you. They started with the helmets. You saw the teams had sponsors last year on the helmets, which is one thing. But okay, but they lost $1 billion, whatever it is. So this thing goes well. All the teams make a lot, or the NHL makes a lot of money off this sponsor. Then what? Where do we stop? Right. Do we end up having sponsors everywhere where there's an open spot on your jersey?
Yeah.
Like if they're going to be that greedy and try to make all this money back at one shot, they're going to go balls out and they're just going to fill that jersey. Pretty soon, we're not going to see a name on the back of the jersey. There's going to be a Prudential sticker at the top instead of a logo.
Well, Tipu saying Sherman toilet paper should advertise on the Penguins.
No kidding.
Holy shit.
Beautiful.
Teeps, watch yourself, bud. I know where you live. Settle down now with that nonsense. Okay, just for shits and giggles, Spin and Chicklets had on Bissonnette's jersey today on Instagram, Pornhub on the side. It's a beaut, man. It's a beauty. All right.
Oh my God.
So I everybody, like, if you listen to and Santi, I know you're watching out there, the hockey purists are going bananas with this stuff right now. I just don't think it's cool. Are they going to have logos on the posts? Are they going to have logos now on their everywhere on their pants? One thing leads to another app. You know this. Are they going to have, the funny thing is that I was listening to one of the guys' podcast today, and he was even chirping about hockey. If anybody doesn't follow him, Hockey Illuminati, great guy, cool stuff that he talks about. Make sure you follow him on Instagram. Really good. He was talking about, are they going to have cars now, like the World Championships at the end of the arenas, all that stuff, right? So it just gets me worried.
Especially when you wonder where it's heading, because there never used to be sponsors on the boards.
Right.
And now look at it. Now it's on the boards. It's on the ice.
Right.
It's on their helmets now. Like,
yeah. So, what are you saying here? Pappy will have Taco Bell on his jersey. So, not sure who Pappy is by, but maybe that was, you know who Pappy is? Right?
No.
All I know is that Dom Canatelli had his jersey pasted against the boards at the hangar a few times. So he was like an advertising. Right? Matthews. Frankie's saying it's Matthews. All right. Okay. So is that his nickname? I don't know. That's his nickname. Well, I got a few nicknames for him, bro.
If they give him free tacos, he might break his wrist.
He needs some soft tacos after that one. Right? Yeah. So, all right. Let's move on to the next one. So, sponsors on jerseys app, your thoughts, yes or no?
No.
We're out of here. Gonski with that nonsense, right? All right. So the interesting one that I'm bringing up tonight, I know that this will light up everybody. I'm telling you right now. COVID policies in NHL rinks being announced by MLSE, Toronto Maple Leafs, of course, but also to their, MLSE, their other sports teams, the Winnipeg Jets. U.S. teams are talking about this now. If you're not vaccinated, if you don't have vaccine proof that you have both double shots, you will not be allowed to enter the arena or watch live.
I agree with it. I agree with it. I agree.
What's the okay? We don't want to get into politics on the Hockey Lounge here, but we got to dive into sort of what is happening here with them doing this. I honestly think this is the organizations getting involved with the government, okay, to try to make individuals get vaccinated. What are your thoughts on that?
And honestly, Nick, I'm one of those guys that agrees with that. You look at the people in ICUs and stuff like that, and they're all the non-vaccinated people. I'm pro-vax. It seems to be the only way we're going to get out of this. I'm telling you, I'm going to TFC games since they've come back. They're at 50% capacity, so 15,000 in the stadium. But you can see people are walking on eggshells. It's not the same environment. And to me, there is no better sports environment than BMO Field when TFC plays on a Saturday night in August. But it's timid now. People are scared to go around people and stuff like that because you don't know who's been vaccinated and who's not. Right. I think it reassures the people like me that don't want to catch this thing, that want to make sure that they're safe at the stadiums. And you're right. There could be politics in it because for all we know, the governments, they could have been whispering that, okay, guys, you know what? We're only going to let you have 50% capacity at the stadiums.
100%.
Yeah.
This is what's happening. I guarantee it up. I guarantee the government has told them no 100% capacity unless you do this. And this pushes the vaccines out more, right? So, listen, do I agree that this is the way to go? I do, right? But if we're going to go that route, then you better see every NHL team, all 32 teams have the same policy. Because when you look at the playoffs last year, okay, I just got a text here. It's a touchy subject. Somebody just texted me. Yeah, it is a touchy subject. And you know what? I don't fucking care. This is the lounge, and we're gonna get a little touchy tonight.
And and we got to face it because this is the life right now.
Right, beautiful, right? But that being said, I'm not going to say I'm pro-vaccine or whatnot. What I'm saying is this is a business, and when businesses get involved, this is what happens here, right? So my thing is that we saw this in the playoffs right? We saw the U.S. cities packed.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you come back to Canada, and you weren't allowed to have anybody except for the Canadians opened up to I think 5,000 or 6,000.
Yeah.
The Leafs let in a few. Right. But this is underground stuff happening.
Yeah. They have to lead by example, though. They have to make sure that all the players are 100%. All players in team, they have to lead by example. All the players in the league, the management staff, the coaching staff, everybody's got to be vaccinated on these teams, because you can't say that you can't come and watch us unless you've gotten both shots. Meanwhile, there's a guy, a guy that parks his car, concession stand guys. They're around all these guys in the stadium. Everybody's got to be a part of this. You can't just demand it from the fans just because you want to make the bucks.
Right, for sure. Just threw up one comment here from Teeps. Open the fucking rink, enough already. So there you go. Teeps just said it all, right? Yep. So yeah, it is a touchy subject, but this is not about being pro-vaccine, not being pro-vaccine. This is about the business and what's happening behind the scenes in every major sports league. The NFL made their players. It's a mandate that they have to get vaccinated. Now, I'm not sure. We read that memo to the teams on Friday about, staff and everything like that. Has it been said that all players have to be vaccinated? I'm not sure. Do you know?
I'm not sure about the players.
Yeah, I don't know if that's been a mandate yet.
I think they said that the team staff has to be.
Yes, team staff. Also, any type of broadcaster, anybody that is involved with any of the staff of the team, players or whatnot, have to be vaccinated.
But I mean, if you as a player know that these guys are vaccinated and they could still carry the virus and give it to you, would you not be scared to go get go get vaccinated? I don't want an answer. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. I just think that, like I said, this is a business. But like I said, if Toronto's doing it, Winnipeg, certain U.S. cities are doing it, it better be all 32 teams.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense to only make it 5, 6, whatever.
No.
Because what's the point of that? If you want to make it mandatory, make it mandatory. Let's go. Let's get it going.
Everybody's got to play into the same rules.
Exactly, 100%, right?
Yep.
And we don't want to see stuff that happened to the Vancouver Canucks last year. That was terrible. So that's why let's make it for all 32 teams.
Yeah, there was a lot of teams that it affected last year. I know Vancouver was probably the best example because they were a team that had a chance to make the playoffs and it screwed them. But it derailed a lot. Buffalo shit, I get it. But I mean, the whole Buffalo and Devils thing, that after that game, the Sabres were all sick. Then the Devils became all sick. Both teams had to stop. It just ruined both of their seasons. They weren't going anywhere anyway, but there was a lot of people affected by that start and stop. Like, let's not have any of that this year.
For sure. And the only way to get through it is making sure that you mandatory it for everybody, not just a few teams.
Yeah.
So, and again, Frank brings up the NHLPA, union rules, whatnot. We'll see what happens there. Hopefully we get more clarity to the situation in the weeks ahead here. Another topic in the lounge tonight. Again, this has been a fun show. We're going back and forth with a lot of good stuff, a lot of good comments. Thank you to all the viewers. Keep on watching the Hockey Lounge. We are going to be rocking it throughout the hockey season. It is going to be interesting. And we have our prediction shows coming up. Again, if you want to become a lounge member, hit that subscribe button below. If you want to like the show, give it a nice slap shot. All right. This came out today. This is good. Betting odds in Vegas. We have the Hart Trophy 2022 odds for the Hart of the National Hockey League. You have Connor McDavid. That is a plus 400. You have Nathan McKinnon plus 600. And I guess you have Papi, Taco Bell, Austin Matthews at 650 app. Who are you taking out of those three? Who are you going to Vegas tomorrow night, fly in there, putting money on?
Connor McDavid.
Connor McDavid.
I'm not even thinking twice about it.
All right. Tipu's saying McKinnon. Wow, interesting. Wow. I'm you can't bet against Connor McDavid in the regular season. So I think I'm going with McDavid. Frankie boys saying McKinnon. A lot of McKinnon fans out there. I got to go with McDavid. He is the regular season Jesus of the NHL. Can he bring it in the Stanley Cup playoffs? That is still to be determined. So we have that as well. So IHF World Championships Women's. They played their tune-up game today. They beat Finland by 4-1. Their real tourney starts Friday, and it's against Finland. Looking forward to that for sure. We definitely watch any type of Canadian hockey. Behind me, you see that Canada jersey. It doesn't matter who's playing for Canada. We are always rooting for the red and white. Any final thoughts here, App, before we go on the Central Division?
I think 1 through 3 going to be very interesting. Some very good hockey. I think 4 down is going to be a ways off. I think you're only going to see 3 teams in the playoffs from this division this year.
Right. So again, the daily wrap up. This is something that we're doing for all the viewers. It runs between 10 to 15 minutes. It won't be every day, but if something comes up big in terms of trade, signing, if there are signings throughout the day, we'll have a 10 to 15 minute show. We're going to be rocking the lounge live at least once a week, and it's normally going to be Wednesdays at 9, so watch out for that. We appreciate all the viewers watching tonight. Stay safe. App, it was a good one tonight. Don't like the jersey. Go Devils! David Putty for life. Seinfeld for life. All the hockey fans out there, stay safe. We'll see you next time on the Hockey Lounge.
Stock up on that Sherman.